Look, I opened this jar of rotten baby food, and well, a butterfly came out.
I don't think magicians really, I don't think they define themselves as magicians, but I think you and I both
Oh.
know that there are plenty of magicians out there who do not call themselves as such, but that's how they
Uh-huh.
play the game.
Welcome to the Comedians and Elevators podcast. I've got my guest, Michael Tabeling. Michael, say hi, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Michael Tabeling. I'm a sculptor and painter and scenic artist in TV and film, and currently living in Atlanta. Been here for about almost 8 years now, and ready to go.
Awesome. So is Atlanta the new Hollywood?
It seems like it used to be. I don't know about right now. Um, a lot of things have really dialed down, honestly. It was very consistent, pick and choose your film to be on, but now I think there's less than 20 shooting. So, and it used to be 140.
All right. So you're saying that maybe it's just the total industry, but it's still doing well, better than everywhere else, including Hollywood, perhaps?
I think Europe's actually doing much better because they've been stealing a lot of our shows, honestly.
All right. Interesting. Okay. So they got some production going on over there. All right. So you
Yeah.
ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Listen, to my regular listeners, I know you don't like when at the beginning of these conversations I ask you to subscribe. None of us like it. I don't like saying it. I don't like it being in here. But it's frustrating. You know what else is frustrating? It's also frustrating when I look in the back end of the YouTube channel and I see that 56% of you that watch frequently haven't yet subscribed. And I know this because I see it in the comment section. You say things like, I didn't know I didn't subscribe. And that's actually what fuels the show. Basically, it's like you're making a donation to the show. So that's why I ask all the time, because it enables us to build and build and build. And we're going for the long term here. Hit the subscribe button and we'll continue to build this show for you. That's my promise. Thank you to all you guys that do subscribe. It means the world to me.
All right, so the main point of the podcast is to compare and contrast the comic versus the comedian. So I define the comic as any person telling funny jokes versus the comedian who's a funny person telling any jokes. So, Michael, would you agree that you start as a comic and evolve into a comedian?
I almost think it's the opposite, honestly.
Okay, how so?
Uh, with in terms of like thinking about censorship and what you're allowed to post, like a comic is pretty much told what to do. They have the talent to do so, but are going off of basically a scripted uh, subject matter, whereas a comic can kind of just play the
What do you
audience or
mean?
whatever their subject matter is and run
Mhm.
with it. I mean, with a
Okay.
comic, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, I see. You said comic twice, so I referred the second one was the
The
comedian,
comedian, sorry,
right?
yeah.
Now, you're saying that the comic doesn't write their own material?
I think they do, but they're told what to write about.
Who tells them?
Well, whoever's the person in charge, essentially.
Why wouldn't it be themselves if if they're doing comedy?
Well, I'm not sure that they would get hired or paid.
Okay, okay, very interesting. All right. So that's so I think I agree with almost all of it except for the second part where the comedian is the comic, but let's get into it. All right, so the first question, the role of persona in comedy. How much of the comedian's voice is a character versus their real self?
How much? Say that. All right, say that one more time. I'm sorry.
How much of the comedian's voice is a character versus their real self?
Well, I think all of it's a character. I mean, and if you could have multiple characters, that just makes you better of a comedian.
Okay. So you're saying that they're not speaking through their own subjective voice?
Correct. They're doing what is going to get the audience to is what's going to get the audience to really participate.
Okay. All right. So does authenticity matter or is illusion part of the magic?
Ooh, I mean, that's a loaded question. I think the authenticity is a huge part of it, but also being able to fake it, that fake it till you make it is also a large part of it.
That's tricky. So is the faking the illusion?
It can be, yes. I mean, you don't have to necessarily be faking it, but if you can play something that isn't your normal self, I think that's where comedians, like certain, like specific comedians, are very, very good at what they do by being able to play a room.
Okay. All right. So, but is that playing the room? Is that faking it or is that authenticity?
Well, I think it's authenticity because this is what they want to do, and that's why they're performing in the first place.
All right. I'll go with that one. Okay. So, punching up versus punching down. So, where do comics versus comedians stand on this? So, let me put it in some historical context.
Sure.
Did a jealous medieval prince become the first comedian by killing the court jester?
No, that's envy.
It's ending?
I think so, yeah, because they're getting the attention when the prince wants the attention.
Okay. So, basically, he was the
He got
first and
rid of
last.
he got rid of his competition, more or less.
He did. He did. Right. So, that doesn't make him automatically the funny man?
No, honestly, if someone were really to look into it, it makes him the bad guy.
It does, doesn't it? Well, that's why the question's there. So is the audience's agreement with a comedian a form of permission or alignment?
Yes. Are
Okay,
you,
how so?
um, because they are enacting, because they are engaged, they are allowing him to keep going, him or her to keep going, um, in whatever way that is going to keep them captivated and entertained. Because essentially, you're always paying something to get some sort of, you know,
Feedback,
fulfillment.
but fulfillment, but you're not getting the hook. That's the big the minor goal we'll say is to stay on stage, right?
Right.
All right, so cultural translation of comedy. So, how do jokes that work in one country bomb in another?
Cultural norms, societal norms, just the way, you can go based off. I mean, depends on what country you're in. They're based
For
off a
sure.
different religion. For instance, they're not going to listen to someone that speaks like a pirate, like me, or
Why
compared to,
not? Is that offensive to some religions? Is there the
yeah,
pirate religion? Oh,
absolutely would be like, if someone makes a joke about marriage or, women or, attire, the way you present yourself in public, that absolutely could say a Islamic country would absolutely hate that. Well,
pirate
when
jokes? No, specifically
speaking like
pirate
a
joke.
pirate, speak like a lot of
Yeah.
curse words, a lot of people take offense to that. And
Ah, I see.
specifically, like my daughter being converted, like I'm not Judaic at all. Like I don't follow Judaism, but she is in a Jewish school, and
Okay.
so a lot of that and those norms and those holidays, which there are too many of,
Ah, are you
absolutely.
telling me they don't go to school on those days and you gotta get a babysitter?
Yeah, there's about 57 holidays, I think, and
And they don't go to school on those days?
sometimes they do, but if it's Shabbat, anything Shabbat related, yeah, no, you're supposed to repent, and yeah, so it's very different compared to actually her mother and myself. We're both raised Christian Catholic, and so it's very, very
Cool.
different.
Oh yeah, definitely. But the education's the goal, right?
Education is the goal. That's right.
So is truth the meaning of facts?
No,
Okay. All right. Well,
I
I
don't think
won't
so
ask
at
for
all. It's
you don't think that?
manipulation.
Ah, okay. That's why I threw that new question in there. So are comics more universal while comedians are more culturally specific?
Yes, but if you're playing with that timeline factor, not at all, because a lot of the best, comedians, artists, people that actually put it out there, aren't recognized until after the fact. While comics, they put out their, Sunday strip on the newspaper or whatever it is, and that's instant reward.
Okay. All right. Because they're buying the paper. I mean, you don't know if they're reading it though, right?
Right, but they're still getting paid for it. Now the comedians aren't
They are.
necessarily.
They are. So that's the goal. So you're definitely measuring, we'll say, how much you get paid by success. Is that the metric?
Well, I think it's not my metric because otherwise I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But yes, I think that's kind of the status quo, is to be able to base yourself off of how much you make. I mean, that's how society runs.
For
You're
sure. That's
important
definitely
because you make so much money.
Right. That's definitely part of the calculation of total value, right?
Right.
So crowd work versus crafted work. So if comics riff like influencers in the comments section and comedians perform like in reaction videos, where's the sweet spot?
Being able to say fuck you and do whatever you want. I mean, I
Okay.
don't know if there is really a sweet spot. Honestly, it's kind of the way you're able to play that field, um, and where you're comfortable. Because the more comfortable that individual is, the easier it's going to be to make that work.
Got it. So yeah, playing the field, that's the key. That's the sweet spot. So what happens when a comic leans too much into crowd work or when a comedian gets heckled?
Well, then they sell out, honestly, and maybe it comes down to the point where if they start doing that to an extent, they forget who they are as an individual and why they did it in the first place.
Well, you're answering the first one first, right? So you're saying that when a comic leans too much into crowd work, that's selling out, right? But it's not selling out if a comedian gets heckled, is it?
Ooh, I mean, it could be if the comedian just bows down to being heckled and changes up their entire delivery, then yeah, it's kind of the same in both stances.
Wow, that's an interesting. I haven't seen that bowing down to the heckler. I mean, that sounds like an automatic fail because they are holding the talking stick, right? You can hit someone over the head with it. That's what I
Yeah,
would do
or you'll
if I.
get that hook, yeah, and then you're off the
Yeah,
stage. And
that's true. If the heckler has a hook, then you have to think twice what's really going, or at least a cane. That might be the way to do it. So,
or the one that
average.
hired you to put you on stage in the first place doesn't like what you're
Oh,
doing. You're probably then you have to pay attention to them more so than the audience.
you got a point there. Oh man, they usually don't give you the hook until afterward, where they just push you out the door and never let you back in. So,
Correct.
but that's a point. So advertising and self-promotion. Who advertises themselves more? The comic, the comedian, or the magician?
You know that place where you're not conscious and you're not sleeping either? That's your power bill to the electric company. Right here. I want us to be here with free energy, where the Wardenclyffe Tower meets the Eiffel Tower. But that's not where we are. We are here, where you've got the utility and you've got residential solar. Between these two, we know which one saves you money. This is where we can go in the meantime. But this is where I want us to be now, and this can be done now. So let me deputize you to represent DOSE, Department of Solar Efficiency, and let's get on the podcast and get the message out today. See you soon.
Oh, definitely the magician, it seems like.
Okay. You see a lot of advertising for magicians, for example. Is there any
Beady, beady,
particular
beady,
local
beady.
one that you?
I don't think magicians really, I don't think they define themselves as magicians, but I think you and I both
Oh,
know that there are plenty of magicians out there who do not call themselves as such, but that's how they
okay.
play the game.
Interesting. So when you're saying, are you alluding to perhaps a comedian performing magic?
It may be an instance or ventriloquism, or there's plenty of very, very successful people that do that, and also actors and artists that will play that illusion in order to get their stuff out there in front of everyone and to make themselves wanted. I think that's what a magician ultimately does, and they trick people in order to like them.
Hmm.
And I
Is
think we
that
all do that, whether you're in finance or whether you're in business or acting or in front of a screen. It doesn't matter. Whoever can sell it the best is the one that's going to stay on stage.
that's definitely true. So is self-promotion seen as selling out, or is it necessary for survival?
It's absolutely necessary, especially nowadays. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter on talent anymore. It's just a matter of who clicks on you the most.
Well, I guess what you're saying is you don't need talent to be clicked on.
Correct.
Oh, what a world. Oh,
You
well.
can be full of, you're full of it, and still you get your followers, your little realm of people that just want to do that for you. And I guess that's all it is. But I guess there is work behind that in order to get those people to like you for whatever reason, however you got to get them in your market, they will keep you going.
All right. So, censorship and offense. So, does a comic avoid offense while a comedian courts it to prove a point, like a magician?
Does it say, all right, one more time.
Does a comic avoid offense while a comedian courts it to prove a point, like a magician?
Yes, depending on the type of comic, though. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, there are comics, and I grew up reading all sorts of different, like going through all sorts of different comics. Um, it could be to create change, but also they need to keep security and put food on the table kind of thing. While comedians, their kind of bread and butter is to be able to create that. So yes, I think comedians are kind of more prone to try and create that change, while comics are more staying stable with that censorship thing. Like, with what is the norm, all right, comics will do that every day, while comedians are trying to change it altogether.
All right. Okay. So who survives better in the cancel culture environment? The comic, the comedian, the magician, or the mudslinger?
Or the mud. What do you mean by mudslinger?
You know, the guy that throws the tomatoes at the execution?
Definitely not him.
He's not going to survive the best in cancel culture if he's
Well,
heckling the
he's the
condemned.
he's the one that always sits back. So not him. He's like, I mean, he's like almost the constant. If you're thinking science wise, like he is the constant. The comedian is definitely that other factor, and the comic is your norm. I mean, the comic is meant to be there for what we know to laugh at and be told to laugh at, or think about. While the comedian will make you actually think whether it's funny or not. It will be later if that's the goal. But who lasts longer is, I mean, that's a toss up, honestly.
Okay, so you're not alluding that the comics, the turtle, is just slow and steady wins the race?
No, I don't think slow and steady wins the race, and I've gone through that many times, wrote many papers on that. I don't think that's true at all. I think it just depends on the timing. I think timing is huge on when it comes to what you deliver and how you deliver it.
Okay. Well, then that's the next question. Timing and delivery. Is it a science or an art? So do comics rely more on structure and comedians more on rhythm and emotion?
Yes and no. I think that's where you find real talent with comedians, or someone trying to change the norm. They are very good at timing and delivery, and they are also very good at uh, putting up with being put down, I guess, for lack of better words. While
Okay.
comics have a structure and they know exactly how to format it and put it into place, comedians have no idea, and they're always kind of playing the lottery at that point.
Interesting. All right. So laughter versus applause. So are comics chasing laughs and comedians chasing applause breaks that validate the message?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I
That's
think
an
you hit
easy.
that spot on. Yeah, that was an easy one.
Oh, well, let's make it a little bit harder. So, comedy is commentary. So, when does a comedian cross into being a philosopher or a preacher?
When they start to tackle current events and they start to go into that different realm of that seriousness, whether it's war or whatever it might be that we are all that you see on the news, and those ones that have the balls to go after a topic like that are the ones that really do start creating change. Like, it's not politics, it's not news, it's not any of that. It's our cultural influences that make people question. And I think that's where comedians really, really create change, while comics just keep it steady.
Is there a particular comedian you have in mind?
Multiple. I mean, I can go way back, like before my time. Yeah, I mean, my father always loved Rodney Dangerfield. I get no respect, that kind of
Hmm.
thing. Um, Dave Chappelle's the one. He fell off, like chose to leave because of what Comedy Central did to him. Came back as an entirely different person with entirely different delivery. I mean, Ron White, he does some really crazy shows. Even, gosh, I mean, yeah, I could go on and on, honestly.
Okay, I know. I definitely agree with that list. So is that good or does it dilute the humor?
Well, I mean, it does dilute the humor. It's just sad that they don't get accolades they should be getting at the time, because no one's, because of censorship, like going back, like because of censorship, they're not allowed to be perceived this way, or they are even going to be exposed to the audience they're trying to get to, which is the
Okay.
mass amount of people.
Well, go with that one. So, comedy and vulnerability. So, do you agree that comics hide behind their jokes and comedians expose themselves? And if so, which one is braver?
I don't agree with that. I think
Okay.
comedians are some of the most nervous people sometimes. They
Nervous?
well nervous when it comes to saying what's actually on their mind. But with the comedians, I guess they, in retrospect, they really do have the biggest gung ho, because they really have nothing left to lose. It's all or nothing for them. And I think that's when they walk out on stage, it's an all or nothing kind of thing for them, where comics are like, all right, I can mess up and redraw this and go about it that way, and talk to their
Interesting.
editor or their producer or whatever it is, and do it according to how they want. If they mess up once, well, you get another try.
So you're saying comics don't do stand up?
I mean, I'm sure some do. I haven't met one, but I
Okay.
mean, other like I've never done stand up. I've done comics before, so
Okay. So we can't prove a negative though. Is that
true. I mean, I guess the other thing like that just sparks something in my head. I'm too shy and nervous to try and get like I'm afraid, honestly, of how people are going to judge me.
hmm.
And I think that's why some people hide behind that, while comedians really just don't care.
Okay. So would you venture to be a comic on stage and go for it?
Absolutely, I would if I yeah, sure.
Ah, well, got to do an open mic, and there it is.
I guess so.
I'm daring you. All right. So,
I'm
uh, so we've
not
got
doing
we
spoken word, that's for sure.
no. Just got to do 5 minutes of straight stand up. So, here on the Comedians and Elevators podcast, we have a tradition where the previous guest asks a question for the next guest. And so the previous guest was Michelle Lee, and she doesn't know you yet, Michael, but she has a question for you. And the question is, what is your favorite TV series villain and why?
You're asking someone who works on TV and film.
I'm not asking. I'm just the mouthpiece for this question.
No, I'm Miss Lee. Shoot. Gosh, favorite villain and why? I'm gonna go all the way back to Rugrats and Angelica.
Oh, interesting call out. Can I ask why? And why? That's part of the question. And why?
Um, because she puts off this persona of being this angelic little person that demoralizes people like her, like Tommy, and everyone else. But it also made them stronger in essence, and they all depended on each other. So, in that essence, you need your bullies, you need your good people, and you can't grow and strive without having both.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, last question. So, legacy. Who gets remembered? Will the comics Tight Five survive time, or will the comedian's cultural point of view be more timeless?
I didn't understand that. But,
Well, that's the Tight Five is assuming that the comic does do stand up. So we are comparing them into equal positions on stage, right? So this is in the scenario that a comic is doing stand up and they have a tight five, which means it's good, or at least it's done well. So which will last longer? Sounds like we already have the answer. Will it be the comic's tight five, or will it be the comedian's cultural point of view?
hmm. Uh, the comic will have a more stable, long-lived career on average. The
Mhm.
comedian will be hit and miss, and they can either have a much better, longer, and more prosperous career, or nothing at all.
Hmm.
Is that
Well,
answer the question, or?
it does answer the question. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting perspective. So, Michael, where can everybody find you online?
Well, I have my website's michaeltable.com, and my Instagram is Michael Taves. And anywhere else, you can feel free to hit me up on either of those, and I will hopefully be able to get back.
Awesome. Well, Michael, thank you so much for being my guest. And for everyone else, please like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.